Well, first of all, I want to thank all of you observer coaches for what you're doing in this, our first leadership coach training here in St. Louis. The feedback I'm getting has been very, very positive, and I'm looking forward to next week's celebration recap. Paul, you want to say anything to the guys before I kind of give them an outlay of what we're going to look for?
No, I just would like to say that I am so encouraged by what I've been hearing from Chuck, as well as from some of the other guys on this call, and what they're experiencing and what they're seeing God do. You guys have invested a great amount of time and energy over the last couple of months, and I'm sure now that you can really begin to understand the value of that time of investment, and that you're seeing it in relationships. And I look forward to next week when we hear some stories.
Yeah, I was just telling Paul in our coaching session right before this video what an impact this has had on me this time. I've been through the leadership coach training twice, and this time I'm going through it as an observer coach like you are, and I've learned more this time than the previous two combined. It's just been amazing. So I'm encouraging the guys who are going through it with us now to consider being observer coaches next year in our spring and fall leadership coach training events. So that being said, I was talking to Paul about what this last session looks like, because it's been different both times that I've been through it. And so here's what we're looking for. We're going to meet at FJ's office in the conference room. I believe it's 10 o'clock. Let me look to make sure. It's 10 or 10:30. It's 10:30. So get there about 10, 15 minutes early, please. But it's 10:30, November 2nd at FJ's office. We'll be in the conference room. Now, a lot of people are going to Zoom in. So we will have it on Zoom and in person. So whichever works for you. If you can make it, make it. If not, Zoom in. But I'm going to also record it for the few people that just can't even make it on Zoom. I'm going to record it for them. The idea of this is kind of a review of what was learned. And I'm going to, lean on Paul to kind of just give a quick little review of what the purpose of the training was all about when he developed this years ago, and just kind of get people on track there. A big portion of this is going to be testimonials. We're going to want guys to share specifically. And I want to ask you as an observer coach before the session to encourage these guys to come with concrete examples of how it's impacted their life already and how they see it impacting their life going forward. Try to get them to get their testimonies down about 90 seconds so we have time for everyone to share. But that's going to be a very, very important part of our time together as the testimonials. We'll also answer questions. But what I've suggested to Paul, and he's agreed, is we're going to save the questions for the end. So if that goes a little over an hour, it'll be for the people that have questions that they want answered. So we can get on and off in 1 hour as we originally scheduled. So it's scheduled from 10:30 to 11:30. What we do with what we've learned going forward, that's a big one. So the impact it's had already, I've received some great stories already on what it's done. We want more of those, but we also want guys to think about, how do they see this impacting their life going forward in their business, in their marriages, in their different areas of life. Something I want to do is really encourage all of the participants of this last session to consider going through it again next year, and hopefully as an observer coach or at least as a peer coach, but encourage those guys to go through this again. Primarily, I'm looking for observer coaches. And then lastly, I'm looking for referrals of people that they think might be interested. And I don't want just a list of names and phone numbers for me and Mike McCann to call. I want a list of people that you care about, that you know might be impacted like you have been, that you would be willing to introduce Mike or myself to, and have already given your 90-second elevator pitch on the leadership coach training. So, Paul, I think I hit everything we talked about, but any last parting words for this great team of men that God's put together for our first ever leadership coach training in St. Louis?
Well, thanks, guys, for making this a success. Your involvement with these guys that have gone through the training as an observer is a critical part of making it successful and valuable to them. So just thank you for doing it, and look forward to you doing it again.
Paul, thank you so much for the investment you made in our men. It's something I'll never forget. So thank you, sir. Appreciate you very much.
Pleasure.
All right, guys, we'll see you next Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Hopefully at FJ's, but if not, on Zoom. God bless you. Let me know you got this video, and we'll see you next Thursday. Bye-bye.
Great. Thanks. See you guys.